Are voiceover conferences worth it? That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the Daily Voiceover Huddle. My name is Mike Hathcote. I'm a professional voiceover talent, and what we do here on this channel, which by the way is the number one voiceover related channel on YouTube. We've got 82,000 subscribers, and we're marching towards 100,000. And we've got about 1,500 free videos for you to get your learn on regarding all aspects of voiceover. Um, Also, don't forget to chime in on the chat. We're going to do some shout outs here shortly. But what we do on this channel is just give you a little bit of information every morning, every weekday morning to help you grow your voiceover business and get towards success. All right. So, are voiceover conferences worth it? Here we are on the eve of our industry's biggest conference, which is VoiceOver Atlanta, VO Atlanta. And my good friend and colleague, J. Michael Collins, and his wife run that conference. And like I said, it is the biggest conference in our industry every year. There's several other ones that are not quite as large, but this is the bad boy. And so my short answer to this question of whether voiceover conferences are worth it is yes. But like many things in this industry, it can go both ways. So, voiceover in general is a very isolating or can be a very isolating career. Here we are in our booths, recording all day by ourselves, for the most part, by ourselves. And it can be, isolating at times. Um, I like to say, when people ask me what I do, I tell them I sit in a padded room and talk to myself all day. And so it's nice to be able to get out of the booth and go socialize with like-minded people, colleagues and peers in your group. Um, so that's the first thing. That's the first reason. There's kind of two main reasons why these things are worth it, in my opinion. The first one is the socialization aspect. You just get to hobnob and hang out with a lot of like-minded people that you may have only heard of or you know, chatted with online or on Facebook groups or something like that. It's nice to be able to put a face to a name, look them in the eye, shake their hand, or fist bump or whatever we're doing these days post COVID. And so that's the first reason I think is just the socialization aspect, just to be able to hang out with like-minded people. Now, the second, and I think the most important reason is the learning. There, especially at VO Atlanta, they have so many teachers who come to these conferences covering every category of voiceover, all the different genres of voiceover, and they teach lessons on how to either break into those categories if you're not already in them, or to how to do those categories better. They also have tons and tons of things on, marketing and tech and all the other aspects of voiceover that you need to learn how to do to be successful in this business. They bring in people who have long track records of success. So it's nice to be able to learn from people who've already kind of gotten to the place where you want to go. They bring in people like, famous character actors, the actor who plays Goofy, the actor who plays Bart Simpson, I mean, they bring all these people in so that you can learn from them. And they're just really, really fun and a great time. So, um, especially if you live within, driving distance from these conferences, it's a no-brainer. Now, if you're way across the country and have to fly, then you gotta just kind of figure out your finances and, whether or not it's worth it. But people come back from these conferences with kind of a renewed sense of purpose and are ready to kind of get back in the game if they've kind of slacked off a little bit, and they get the motivation to continue, you know, heading down that journey. So, it's a very voiceover is a very supportive community. Um, for the most part. I talked a couple of weeks ago about some of the bully coaches and stuff out there, but as a general rule, the voiceover industry is a very supportive community. And so voiceover conferences are just a great way to kind of get together with like-minded people, learn a ton, and yeah, get back at it. So, one vote of confidence for voiceover conferences. So those of you who are in the Atlanta area, I know we have several people who always chime in from Atlanta. Are you going to VO Atlanta this year? And if not, why not? Because you're right in the neighborhood. And anybody else out there, are you going to VO Atlanta this year? Chime in on the chat and let me know. Oh, and speaking of learning, have you signed up yet for Amy's class on pay to play? I'm sure that somebody will be at VO Atlanta talking about pay to plays this year. Sometimes they actually bring the pay to play owners into the conferences to kind of answer questions and stuff like that. But anyway, Amy Weiss is going to be teaching our class this coming Tuesday on pay to plays. She is going to help demystify the whole pay to play space. She's been doing it for like 14 years at this point, almost entirely on pay to plays. And so she's going to be teaching us all how she works the pay to play system and succeeds in pay to play. So there's still some slots left for that. Link in the description below. All right, let's go over here and see who's in the house. There's Sean from Longview, first in. There's Mark from Montreal and Ron from Grand Haven, Michigan. There's Grandma Becky checking in from Michigan. By the way, Becky, I refunded that 10% for that coupon code. You should be getting that shortly. There's Terry from Fallston, Maryland. Terry's advice is if you do go to VO conferences, have a plan and pace yourself. There is a lot going on. Boy, you got that right. It is jam-packed. In fact, there are so many, breakout sessions and X sessions, they call them, where they have the main room for the big keynotes speakers, and then they have all the breakout rooms. And you kind of have to figure out, sometimes you have to decide which one is more important because there's so much good stuff going on. Some of them are at the same times. You have to decide, like, which one do I want to go to? So yes, have a plan, pace yourself, and just take your time. Jason says, good morning from Kearney, Nebraska. And there's Rick from Minneapolis. David from Hamilton, Ontario. Sarah from Destin. There's Dennis from Grant Park, Illinois. And Theo from downtown Chicago. There's John from Denver. Disclint, I guess. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Good morning from Chandler, Arizona. Well, you're just a rock's throw from me. I'm in Gilbert. There's Callie from Pasco. Yeah, and I believe Callie mentioned yesterday, speaking of Callie, she mentioned yesterday about how you become the people that you're around. I believe it was Callie. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. But you become the people who you're around. So that's yet another vote for conferences, because when you hang out with people who are either where you want to be or, are kind of in your same sphere, it reaffirms and helps you get to that place. So it's a great time. There's Tim from Altoona. And there's Kirk from Greenville, South Carolina. Jason. Oh, Jason says, like, subscribe, and share the huddle. Thank you. Appreciate that. I can't remember if I said that or not, but I appreciate that, Jason. Let's get that voiceover gospel out to everyone who needs to hear it. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Bruce says, good morning to everyone from Port Richey, Florida. JR Dog Rider, good morning from Austin, Texas. There's Corey from Whitehall, Wisconsin, and Tracy from Rochester, Minnesota. Good morning, John from Chicago. Oh, Rick says six Johnny Cash shirt, by the way. Thank you. Johnny Cash and the Tennessee Three. There's Mary from New Jersey. Got a really nice compliment on your class, Mary, in the Facebook group. I don't know if you saw it or not, but Mary rules. She does our performance classes on Thursday, and somebody posted a really nice testimonial about it in the Facebook group. There's Doug from Greensboro, North Carolina. And Andrew. Whoa, it jumped. Sorry. Andrew. Oh, Andrew says, when will the event in Atlanta be? It starts tomorrow and goes through Sunday. So it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Maybe Monday. I'm not sure. But starts tomorrow. There's Jim from Memphis. Atlanta's only 6 hours away. There you go. That's a good little drive. But yeah, there's plenty of people who live, within, that bubble or whatever of Atlanta that can drive there pretty easily from other states. A performing artist says, "Good morning from Atlanta, Mike. What's the name of the VO conference?" It's called VO Atlanta. Look it up. It's already sold out, by the way. They limit it to 1,000 people every year, and it's already sold out. So if I don't think you can just drive in and go, unless you've already bought tickets. So it is sold out. Christopher says, hi from Jacksonville, Florida. Andrew says, only 20 hours away. I can do this. Well, maybe. Jay King says, I did volunteer for the Atlanta Film Festival, though. Cool. There's Chris from Houston. He says, hey, Mike, is there a VO conference in Dallas? Yes, there is. One Voice is in Dallas, and that is in August. So that is coming up fairly shortly. So, yep. In fact, you might even see me there. Hint, hint. So, yeah. One Voice conference. Just look it up. Just do a Google search. One Voice conference for Dallas in August. Callie says, I find the opportunity to network with your peers is always worth it and a good idea. There are many gems to be harvested in those situations and relationships to be nurtured. Yes, absolutely. In fact, a lot of times when you go to these conferences, you make connections that you actually get referrals for jobs. I personally, if somebody reaches out to me and wants to know if I've got an idea or if I've got a referral for, say, a female voice that does XYZ, or a male voice that does XYZ, whatever, then those relationships that I've developed with those peers, whether it be face to face or online, I refer people to those other voice actors. If I can't fulfill the job for them, then I'm going to refer them to somebody that I know can. So making those connections, you may get a job or two out of it. Sandra says, from Worthington, Ohio, says, conferences are a way to pay my grade right now, or above my pay grade right now. Yeah, they can be a little, I don't want to say expensive, especially if you're local. But you've got to weigh that, return on investment, just like with anything. Are you going to learn when you go to one of these conferences? Are you going to learn a thing or two or 12 that will get you booking more work? If so, then it's worth it, right? Let's say the conference is, $250 to attend. That's a single job a lot of times, or more. So, it's you just got to have to weigh your personal situation. Jim says, who were the Tennessee Three? The Tennessee Three were his backing band. Johnny Cash, the three people who, his guitarist, his bass player, and his drummer, those were the Tennessee Three. I can't remember their names right off the top of my head. And then it turned into the Tennessee Four. No, I take that back. It started with the Tennessee Two, and then it became the Tennessee 3 when they added a drummer. So, yeah. A performing artist says, "Hey, I see Andre Romano at the VO Atlanta conference. Dang, it would have been worth it just to meet her." There you go. Yep. Jim says, "What is the average cost of a conference?" Well, there's different tiers usually. There's kind of early access, but it's usually anywhere between $200 to $300 to attend. There are certain perks and stuff that you can also buy, but usually the general membership or the general entry fee or whatever is between $200 to $300, depending on which conference it is. Joy says, "Hello, everyone from Southfield, Michigan. I went to VO Atlanta last year and it was worth it. I had a blast, but I also learned a lot that helped me as a voice actor and in my business." See, there you go. So it was probably worth whatever the entry fee was for that. So yeah. Jay King says, "VO Atlanta is about $600 if I'm not mistaken. I applied for the scholarship but didn't get it." Okay. Yeah, I can't remember how much it is, but there could be, like I said, multiple prices depending on the level. Jim says, "Bill Black, Scotty Moore, two names I remember." There you go. Okay. Yeah, those were the Tennessee 2 then, and then they got a drummer. Oh, Andrew. Oh, that's true. Yeah, Andrew says, "Just looked up the event. There is possibility to watch replay of the previous events." Yes. In fact, there is a virtual option. If you don't want to attend live, you can watch the replays because they do film everything. So yes, I forgot about that aspect of it. Obviously, it's not as much if you want to do that. There's Chris from Battleground, Washington. John says, "Don't underestimate your local Comic-Con is another learning source. They have tons of voice actors these days." Yep, I go to 2 every year, and I've always gotten fantastic advice and support. Very good point, John. Yeah, a lot of the Comic-Cons bring in, character voiceover talent. So that's a very good point. We have one here, Phoenix Comic-Con, every year, and there's always a good handful of those people. Oh, and by the way, we are officially launched for the audiobook on my book, um, on Amazon. We've had the audiobook done for quite a while for the bundle that we're offering, which, by the way, you can get the book, the the downloadable version, the audiobook, and then 4 free gifts for $9.95. Link in the description. But on Amazon, we just got approved, so the book is officially official on Amazon for the paperback, the hard copy. I'm sorry, not the paperback, the digital download, the Kindle version, and the audiobook, all on Amazon and Audible and iTunes, I believe, as well. Okay. Any other questions or comments about VO conferences? Okie dokie. Well, it is time for me to get back to work. So don't forget to bring your questions tomorrow for Q&A Friday, and we will address any and all inquiries. Do you say inquiries or inquiries? That's another one. By the way, side note, every now and then, and those of you who follow me on social media have seen this, I post a "how do you say it" post where I put up a word that can be said a couple of different ways, both whether or not it's you know correct or incorrect, or sometimes both are correct. And yesterday I posted integral. Integral. Do you say it integral or do you say it integral? And so I'll post that out there and get a lot of feedback on how which way people say things. And that's what I posted yesterday. But Anyway, how did I even get on that? I don't know. Sandra says VO Atlanta video replay is 497. Okay, cool. Okie dokie, guys. Well, I will see you again tomorrow. Once again, bring your questions for Q&A Friday. And until then, break a lip. See ya.